I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does happen.
Those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars.
Well, Terry, authorities tell us that the most serious or perhaps the most dangerous kind of devil worship comes in the form of underground cults.
Is it merely a passing fad, or is there a demonic continuity in the history of man?
We want to warn you now that some things you're about to see and hear might be too graphic for children.
Just remember to talk into your mic.
She's rocking, she's rolling, she's molding. I fell in love with a stripper.
Okay. That's, you know what? Maybe I'll leave that in. Maybe that's how the episode starts. So we're back. Words About Occult Books. It's been a minute since we recorded.
It's fine. If you're in the spirit realm, it's really like no time at all.
You know, I think the present is all there is, and the past and the future are the same thing. They're just not present. You're either on the page or outside the book, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of deep stuff we get into here on Words About Occult Books. And today we're going to be talking about a topic you wanted to do.
And I have failed to do any actual research for, because I'm very bad at it.
Your life is kind of research. I know you've spent so much time with this particular topic that
well, I actually have like personal experience with. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Trauma dump.
Trauma dump. So yes, I am Ben. You are Shy.
Yes.
Together we are
Ben and Shy.
Occult Books. So I actually did pick a book for this one because we need to have a book, or else what are we even doing here?
Right.
And I picked The Language of Fanaticism, Cultish by Amanda Montell. I figured it's an appropriately light book for kind of light freewheeling topic. So you wanted to talk about, before we get into some of the deep lore of cults on this podcast, you want to have like a quick introductory episode on what is a cult. What do people mean by cult? How does it relate to the occult?
It gets very muddy, like when people just kind of lump everything together. Like the joke is like all religion is a cult, but like there are specific things that are cults, and like there are other things that are just too big to be a cult anymore.
Now you and I don't know if I agree with you on all of this. This is going to be one where we differ, I think.
Probably.
So I would say a cult. I think we could come up with a couple of definitions, but I'm interested in to relate a cult to occult. First, I would say what is a cult is hidden, secret. It's esoteric. It's a mystery religion. It's some secret knowledge you got to work for that only a few special people have. That's what a cult means to me. Occult, O-C-C-O-U, or O-C-C-U-L-T. And cults are groups that form for the purpose of exploring occult knowledge. And sometimes they stop being fun and start being dangerous. Quite often stop being fun and start being dangerous. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's that old definition of like a cult was just like a group of people devoted to a specific religious cause or mystery tradition or god. Like there was a cult of Zeus, there was a cult of Dionysus, there's and then over time that word has drifted quite a bit.
It's become quite negative for most people.
I would agree with that. So why don't you tell me what and do your best to talk into your mic.
I will. There we go. How about that?
That's better. Yeah. Why don't you tell me how would you define a cult, ACULT, in 2026?
Oh, there have been so many.
Well, what's like a broad definition? Like, what are the things that unite them that make them what you consider cult?
There's always a blanket gaslighting that is veiled as like positivity, like some kind of like self-confidence, but it's actually this person is telling you what to do through their like bright flowery language. The first thing I thought of was I really hope I got this name right. Marie Kondo.
Yeah,
Does this
does
thing
not
bring me
spark
joy?
joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need her to tell you that. Anytime you like toss something, you kind of go through that whether you realize it or not. And here she is just being like, let's do it with everything. And then it ruins your life because you're like, does this person bring me joy? And then you become a family annihilator.
That's quite the leap. So are you saying Marie Kondo is a cult leader?
Yeah, she was. And then like they very quickly got over it. But that was like, it was the first thing that came to mind because it was the easiest example to give. She was disguising all of the things she was trying to get you to do through this like positivity and restructuring of your life if you thought your life was a mess. And now it's like, no, she's eventually going to tell you to give her more money than just buying her book. And that's how it usually starts. Buy my book, I'll tell you what to do.
There is definitely that. So with the book I read, Cultish, Amanda Montell is somebody with a bit of a linguistics background, and she focuses a lot on the language cults use. And she talks about cults, and the book is called Cultish because it sort of gets into things that are cultish. They're like a cult, but we don't. There's some thing that separates these things from being considered cults. So, like, I think we would all acknowledge, like, the textbook cult, and she talks about this a little bit, is like Jonestown, drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Even though we
Heaven's
all know
Gate.
it was off-brand Kool-Aid. Heaven's Gate. She talks about that one too. The Manson family.
Shinrikyo.
Shinrikyo is a good one. But what about something that's kind of culty that people joke is a cult? Like CrossFit.
Kind of.
Or MLMs.
Oh, that's definitely a cult.
And what about something that, like, she talks about Kundalini yoga, which was very much a cult in that it financially ruined.
Was
people.
that the one where it was just a bunch of like middle-aged rich white people wore red clothes and went into the middle of nowhere to do yoga for a month with some guy?
the Kundalini yoga movement is a whole episode by itself, but it sort of started. It's got that MLM feel to it of like it was started by an Indian person, and they sort of sold it, and you'd rise up in the ranks. You'd start as a student, you'd become a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Once you became a teacher, you'd try to convince other people to become teachers. You'd go to these retreats, you'd get deeper in, you'd unlock secret levels of things. And they talked about it a lot. It was the same sort of approach NXIVM had, where NXIVM started off as like some kind of program adjacent to like a Six Sigma sort of thing that businesses would use to like inspire people to dedicate themselves more to the company, to do things like that. But that's where a lot of like cult like language comes in. You can very quickly isolate somebody by using a lot of fancy terms, and you can make them feel like they're a part of something by using a lot of fancy terms.
Yeah, like I said, they give you that positive, like that fake reinforcement. They gas you up.
Yeah, they gas you up, but is it actually fake?
Mm-hmm. You've never experienced proper gaslighting, have you?
No, probably not. But what I mean to say is it's insincere. So if you've got somebody like another thing that comes up a lot in Cultish is L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology. And he's going to come up a lot in Words About Occult books because he's got
everywhere. He's
everywhere.
Got a hand in everything.
He's Aleister Crowley adjacent. He's
you can't get anywhere in the UFO space without coming across his name somewhere.
Well, he's like Aleister Crowley adjacent, Freemason adjacent, Rosicrucian adjacent. He had a little toe in all of the major occult movements of like the last 100 years, and he developed this system that exists in plain sight. Like I think definitely in parts of this country, it's controversial to call Scientology a cult. Let me ask you this. What is something that is cult-ish that is not a cult in your mind? So, for example, I'm going to say CrossFit again. I think there's an important thing that makes CrossFit distinct, and that's you can leave.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any major like financial consequences for you. There might be some.
You might have
personal.
I was gonna say you might like have a drop in your social circle, but who really wants to stay friends with those CrossFit people anyway?
Yeah. She talks about a lot of exercise movements like Soul Cycle, CrossFit, Kundalini Yoga.
Oh, pentatonics or
Peloton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of these things, they use specialized language. They have charismatic leaders. They encourage dependence on the group. And they have some way of shutting down
your bullshit.
Criticism.
That too.
Well, what I was going to say is like one of the things she came up with that I thought was kind of, I don't think she came up with this. This is a linguistic concept called a thought terminating cliche, where like whatever will be will be. Que sera sera.
Ah, poo.
Something like that, where it's like, oh, I have this serious problem, and I think I need to sit down and solve it, or I don't think this is fair, or I don't like what's happening to me. Whatever will be will be. Don't think about it. God has a plan.
I don't like that.
And that's a big thing in a lot of these cults is like if you start to doubt, there's a built-in mechanism to
kind of
shut that down.
Yeah.
I think that's where it starts to wander a bit because I think the old when we talk about occult practices, it's tricky because you want to, at least I do. I like focusing on like the magic and the weird stuff. Mm-hmm. How do you do that without falling into the trap of, oh, I want this secret knowledge. I want this. I want access to the mysteries. I want the deep lore.
Because it doesn't do you any actual good.
But how do I avoid falling? But I want it, Shy. I want to know the magic.
Google is free.
So honestly, that's been my approach. I try to focus on scholarly stuff. I try to focus on old books that have been around forever, been translated a million times. They're not really secret knowledge anymore.
Yeah.
And going along with that, I'm not like a practicing magician.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in the stuff, but I'm not really trying to get at
like the practice
at
of
actual supernatural magic. I don't actually think that there are and this is what probably separates me from a lot of people who are interested in the occult, is I don't actually think that there are supernatural powers that I could tap into. I like the notion of magic as a kind of controlled placebo effect, maybe. Some way of like getting yourself psyched up or getting your...
It's kind of like a mantra or like a meditation focus.
Yeah. And I'm not looking for like a master or a teacher. You wanted to talk about cults. And I kind of think it was a good thing to get out of the way because we know it's going to come up and we want to sort of say where we stand on that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we want to give people some stuff to be aware of when you start researching the occult. There's not a lot of, I shouldn't say that. There's some good scholarly resources, tricky to sort out from the
neckbeardy, edgelordy, self-inflated egotists rambles.
I call them gurus, but yeah, that's it's tricky to sort out from like the self-appointed gurus. Like I know I've mentioned it on Words About Books before, comes up all the time with Old Norse.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to study to the extent you can, what was the pagan religion of Northwestern Europe?
You got to be really careful because you get real racist real quick in that space.
Well, and also it's just the answers aren't that satisfying.
Yeah,
like the true answers aren't that satisfying. A lot of it is we don't know. They didn't write a lot down. The stuff that is written down was written by Christians who obviously weren't going to record a ton of like a pagan Bible. They weren't going to do that.
Yeah, they found the stories that were the most interesting.
Yeah, well, they found the stuff that they considered part of their cultural heritage because these were like, they're Christians, but they're Icelanders.
Mm-hmm.
So they still care about it. It's just they're not going to write down the full pagan religion. They're not going to tell you how to make a sacrifice to Odin.
Yeah.
You don't need to be doing that. And so there's not a lot of great sources. So there's obviously a desire there for more on the part of people who would like to be pagans. Like there's people who want to revive those religions, and there's not a lot to work with that is real. So they make it up. And when you start making stuff up like that, you tap into a need people have. And this is something that Amanda Montell talks about in Cultish as well, is that people, and this is something I very much agree with and believe, is that people have a need for some level of spirituality.
I disagree because I don't feel a need for spirituality. We joke all the time how I would like give up my human self in a second if I could just put my brain in a robot. But I understand what you mean, but I think it's less. It's not that deep. I feel like it's more of like a like groups of people will start to feel lost amongst themselves if they don't have some kind of greater thing to guide them. That's how you end up with like sages and gurus and shamans and stuff. And basically, I just feel like it's somebody looking for advice for the hard questions and find the person that gives them the hard answer, and they just blow it up in their minds that that person is like connected to God or something.
Well, maybe I should phrase it differently. And I think you're pointing out something good there in that I'm already falling into jargon.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is an occult podcast. And so I'm saying we need the spiritual, we need the paranormal, the supernatural. What I think I really mean is I think there's a craving people have for like ritual bonding.
Yeah.
Some sort of activity that
Something that's outside the
binds the group.
mundane.
Yeah, that binds the group together. Like, and I would even say, like, you doing improv.
Improv is often compared to a cult. I've heard that.
But you come together. There's certain exercises. You play the games, and I could compare it to like D&D. I don't want to feed into that particular satanic panic side of the D&D thing, but it's like we're getting together and we're agreeing to do an activity with certain rules. And we're agreeing to sort of behave in a certain way, go through certain motions to do a thing that ultimately is fun, but it's sort of like a bonding activity. It builds group cohesion. It reinforces our connection. And those kinds of groups are usually built around a leader, the dungeon master or the improv coach, or
depending on the type of group, you might have two leaders, one that is more for like the physical realm, and then one that is more for like the metaphysical, the one that does all the thinking and the alchemies.
Yeah. And so I think in the modern day, it becomes the kind of problem cult when that leader abuses the power.
Mm-hmm.
And the people give him too much power. So like with like Jim Jones, I mean, he started out as a pastor. He got big in integrating churches, and like a disproportionate amount of the people that died at Jonestown were black.
Oh.
Yeah, no, because he was a staunch integrationist. He was all about getting black people and white people to worship together.
I mean, and see, there's that's how it happens. That seems like such a brilliant, good cause, and all of a sudden now so many people are dead.
Yeah, and it starts when one of the interesting things that comes up in the Cultish book is the type of person who would join a cult. And I see you smiling because you've come so close to joining so many cults. I'm the one who's into magic and stuff, and you're the one who keeps almost joining these cults.
That's why I say, like, you've never experienced true gaslighting before. It's insane.
Well, the interesting thing is, no one is immune to being indoctrinated. No one is immune to falling into a cult.
Yeah.
Thinking you are is like the worst thing you could do for defending yourself against a cult. You should always be asking, is this thing I've gotten involved with
Yeah.
a cult? Especially when you're dealing with the topics where we deal with magic and spirits and ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say ghost hunting is rapidly becoming.
Oh my God. It's becoming the weirdest, almost worst kind of cult. Like worst kind before people start dying willingly.
Well, we're starting to see all kinds of like gurus emerging in the space. They sell products and equipment. I don't think it's going to like turn into like a Jonestown Heaven's Gate kind of thing, but
no,
it doesn't
but it's
have
going
to
be like the next. It's going to be the next like Bigfoot UFO movement.
I think there's significant overlap. Like I do think there's kind of I could get in trouble for saying this. I'm not going to say there's a pipeline, but there's some overlap between.
It's like a Venn diagram.
Ghost hunters and Q.
Oh.
Like, and it all happens on fucking Facebook.
So I don't have Facebook.
Yeah, no, Facebook is probably the cultiest outside of like 4chan. It might even be worse than 4chan.
I'd say it's at least on par. Because
yeah,
you know what? I will give this. The leg up goes to 4chan because of their weird hive mind ability to investigate and find literally anything.
Yeah, Facebook is less effective than the Facebook community is far less effective than the 4chan
Yeah.
community, I guess,
Yeah.
except in terms of swinging elections.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But no, the type of person who joins a cult, she concludes, is actually not somebody who's low intelligence, not somebody who's antisocial or anything like that. It tends to be the type of person who is optimistic, inspired, and really wants to affect change. It tends to be like an activist mindset almost. Somebody who believes that they can be part of something that will change the world. The more pessimistic a person is, actually, the less likely she concludes they may be to join a cult, because they don't think it'll help. And they're looking for a group to help them do that. They're idealists who believe in something, who believe in being a part of something. And that's part of the reason I haven't fallen into as many cults as you do, because I think everything's fucked and it's never going to get any better. And I don't think I have the power to change any of it.
But you see, I've become severely pessimistic, so I've kind of...
Yeah, you married me.
No, the world became an utter nightmare.
I used to think I could change it, and then it just got so bad that I was like, no.
Yeah, no, literally, I can't handle that so many points of history that we've learned in school have come to, like, a point all at once. I literally can't handle it, so I've given up. I want to watch it all burn down. That's my hope.
Why don't you tell us one of your cult stories? Let's see what a younger, more optimistic. What drove you to it?
I notoriously lack a danger sense. I should not be as old as I am. Should not be as old as I am.
The cackle after you say that it really sells it.
So when I was 17, I, at this point in my life, had quit going to church. I stopped, like, believing in that particular branch of Christianity.
Which branch were you, out of curiosity?
I was a Methodist.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I feel like that's like all the like suburb like areas.
It's a pretty mild Protestant. Yeah. You're not getting into like the tongues.
I'm not a Presbyterian.
And snakes. Presbyterian's even okay. You don't want to be like a
Baptist
real
revival.
Real hardcore Baptist or any of the like big evangelical ones.
That's another thing I got to talk about too. My grandparents' house.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I had quit the church. I had dropped out of high school, and I was in the fast and beginning stages of my long fight with various types of addictions. And I was living in this trailer park, and down the street there was this guy who I had problems with his family off and on for like the whole time I lived there, which at that point had been my entire life. And at this particular moment in my personal history, everything had calmed down. I had become friends with the older son of the house, and he was 21. I, like, again, no danger sense. I knew it was not good for a teenager to be friends with an adult like that. And yet when I did it, it never occurred to me that I was doing something probably dangerous. But then I was like smoking, drinking, hanging out at this guy's house all the time. And all of a sudden one night, I'm like not in the right state of mind. And he starts talking about like the location of the original 10 Commandment tablets plus the
Oh,
extra
boy.
5. And I was like, oh my God, what? And he was like, and the way you get to see them is you have to like eat clean, like tilapia and rice and yada, yada, yada. And like, I'm going to start doing that. And like, is this something you would be interested in? And I was like, what? Yeah, sure. Why not? And yeah, for about a week, I like ate every meal I had was with him. It was just like plain fish and rice. And eventually I was just like, this is fucking boring. Like he tried to like keep going and like he like fill my head with all he could, and my brain eventually was like, I'm bored of this. I don't care anymore.
Your attention span, your lack of attention span is all that saved you.
Yeah.
We're, that sounds really. You've told me the story before, but I don't think you told me the part about like the commandments and stuff.
Mm.
Were you interested in that?
It kind of goes in line with how I really like listening to you talk about Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Because he would take something that was really boring and dry and like make it sound really interesting. And also, I was inebriated on various types of things. It's not hard.
So, did you actually ever think you were going to like transcend and gain this secret knowledge, or were you just kind of going along to get along?
For a brief moment, like that's the thing that always gets me to do it, is like if I actually genuinely believe for long enough that it registers consciously. Like if I can see it in my imagination, like
what it would be like to have that knowledge?
yeah, or at least like getting right up to the point, because how could I ever imagine having that kind of like that knowledge, that
Gnosis.
whatever you said.
Gnosis is the it's in a lot of Western esotericism. It's kind of it's kind of an enlightenment state. But when people say enlightenment, they usually think of more of an Eastern concept of like
Nirvana.
grasping the intangible. And it's usually in the East there's like ascetic practices, meditative practices, and it's more about trying to realize what's already there, where it's similar in the Western esoteric thing, except rather than focusing on like mindfulness or being present, they focus on knowledge. That there's you got to read the right stuff, or you got to think the right thing, or you got to have the right revelation, and through study and practice you can one day it'll hit you. And that's what the Gnostics were all about, and they called it Gnosis. And I'm guessing that's probably what that guy had fallen into a little bit, some flavor of that. Because that's the other interesting thing with a lot of like cults, including Om Shinrikyo, is there's always like some weird Christian base.
Well, I will say I eventually found out, because I think I told you I spotted him at a local Sheetz.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I was like,
they're not serving a lot of tilapia at Sheetz.
Well, no, like here's the thing, because I had heard he'd been kicked out of the trailer park, and I was like, where the hell would he go?
I was gonna say, I feel like that's a low bar too, to be kicked out of the trailer park.
Well, whatever. So
you gotta fuck up to do that.
Like, I saw he had the whatever that like two-headed dragon metal thing that people who think they're Vikings wear.
Two-headed dragon.
Or maybe it's not a two-headed dragon thing, but it's like a metal, like a continuous metal hoop with like two heads at the end.
Huh. I don't think I know that one.
what? I'm gonna Google this real quick.
If he's going for like a Norse or like a Viking kind of thing, that's way off from
I don't
where he
know.
started.
I don't know. All I know is that he probably ended up like. Well, what I was gonna say is like I think he ended up into like the faux Viking, Norse, pagan kind of religion stuff.
Oh, like a Norse animism kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing with cults. Like every cult you mentioned, Om Shinrikyo, Heaven's Gate,
Waco.
Jonestown, Waco. Every single one of them was some variant on Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Christianity spawns a lot of cults.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough to say if Islam does, but I know Islam has its own esoteric stuff.
I would go ahead and say any religion big enough to have its own divided branches, like its own like established official like types of, then they probably have like outlying groups that could fall under.
Well, I know there's definitely schools of Islamic mysticism, from which there probably do spawn cults. Though I wonder if it's harder to get a big cult going in predominantly Islamic areas. Like if in the Middle East, it might be harder to get one going because there's stricter religious controls.
Yeah. But it could be. But it could end up like. My favorite types of cults are the ones that actually try to say they are following some doctrine of Satan or some vampire that they made up. And it's usually like one either teenaged or middle-aged edgelord who still lives in somebody's basement, recruiting no more than 2 teenagers. And they probably kill somebody, or they turn a house into a hovel, and then they get caught.
Well, and I think those are relatively rare. I don't think the successful cults, kind of Scientology, is one of the only ones I could think of that started, and I don't even think it started like whole cloth, but not many people are good at inventing a mythology that sticks.
The Yellow Deli is also one that has
the Yellow Deli
made its way.
There's a joke on 2 Books 1 Cup that I made, because nobody outside of PA has ever heard of it. That I made where the lady who's chained to the cup, Gretchen, went to the wrong deli and wound up getting the cup cursed.
Uh-oh.
I talked about the Yellow Deli and the cults on the Appalachian Trail, and they're like, "Is that real?" And I was like, "Unfortunately, it is real."
The sad thing is, I've heard the Yellow Deli's got great sandwiches, and it's like, God damn it.
Of course they do. Because they have slaves.
It's a trap.
To make them. There are people who, look, you'd make a great sandwich too if you were going to get your ass beat for not making it right.
I worked in the restaurant industry. I don't give a shit.
I think because with Judaism, you have the Kabbalah, which spawns a lot of other Western esoteric stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Gets into a lot of the Gnostic stuff as well. But, and that's where like having a book is an interesting thing, because every religion has scriptures or wisdom or tenets or whatever, but having a book
really like solidifies.
It creates. I was talking to Nate a little bit about this. We were talking about Snow Crash, and one of the things that came up during Snow Crash is he talks about information systems and like the Bible as an information system. And when I was in college and I was taking history of Western civilization. I took history of Western civilization 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire concept of Western civilization is a little problematic because where do you draw? What is the West? What is the Occident? What is the Orient? Basically, it's whatever's good that influenced the parts we like about our modern day culture. That's the West.
Whatever's left is the East.
East or South or whatever. Yeah. So one of the things I was taught in that class was that the Hebrew people basically invented monotheism, and that was an objective step towards building Western civilization, which is, in the history of Western civilization, that's a good thing. We're that, like, everything's evolving towards this better society.
Okay.
So by coming up with a book, by codifying the scriptures into writing, they give the writing authority. In that now, theoretically, you don't need to go to a priest. Now, at this stage, you still kind of did, because they were the only ones that knew
I
how
was
to
going to
read.
say, like, people didn't know how to read.
Unfortunately, people have since learned how to read, and it's been downhill from there. Now, anyone can look at the Bible with no idea where it comes from, what its context is, who wrote it, when they wrote it, which books were written, when, do they all agree with each other? No, they don't. And how do we make them agree with each other? Bunch of bullshit. And now anybody can say, I've got the right religion. That's the downside to having a book, is anybody can claim to have analyzed the source, and their claim is as good as your claim. We're both looking at the same words, right? My opinion about what I read is as valid as your opinion about what you read. And you'll notice that's the line of thinking that starts a cult like Q. The do your research, the hatred of expertise, the anti-elite sentiment, because they don't like the idea that you need to be trained. You need to have this. Really, you need to have the privilege of education. You need to be wealthy enough. You need to be stable enough to get yourself educated before you're allowed to have an opinion on these important matters.
Well, you see, and that's why I think education should be very well funded, and everyone should have the same level of education, and that level should be high.
Well, but the problem you'll find,
smart people, and this is control.
No, it's a phenomenon they don't fully understand. I've heard it said in Christian communities I was a part of. Like, my grandmother went to a Baptist church for a long time. And that church had a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. But I lived with my grandma, and I went to church with her, and I heard it said that, like, oh, Ben, you're one of the good ones, still coming to church after going to college. You know, the worst thing you could do for a kid these days is send him to college. They're going to come back a godless heathen. They're going to have a copy of the Corpus Hermeticum on their desk. They're going to have... and no, that was really the thought of, like, I don't know what they're teaching in these schools, but every time I send a kid there, they come back morally disconnected from their family. And it happens a lot with it's a phenomenon that happens a lot with priests and pastors. Anybody who goes to seminary, a disproportionate number of people who go to seminary come out not believing, at least in the same way that they believed when they went in. Because when you learn about how the Bible is put together, you'll realize that's just not what you were taught in a lot of these places.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, like, it's a complicated thing because it opens up the ability of anyone to come in and have an opinion on it. And they can do it with borrowed authority. And I think that's one of the things that gives these Christian-based cults their initial legitimacy.
They're just preaching the same message as, this other church.
This is, hey, we all believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross for the salvation of humankind, rose from the dead 3 days later. He will one day come back to judge the living and the dead. That, if we all believe that, how different could we be?
Right?
But also, like, everybody has to have sex with me, and you're going to give me power of attorney and all of your money.
Yep.
You're not doing that for me. You're doing that for Jesus.
Yep.
Because on, paragraph 5 of Corinthians, I found that if you add up the numeric value of the letters, it comes out to my birthday.
Oh, well, pardon me while I just bow down before you.
Well, the thing is, by increments we can get there. So I found in Cultish, I'm gonna talk about the book for a little bit, just because I've been kind of using this to ground the discussion. It kind of gave me a little bit about what I wanted to talk about here. What sort of things do general people think of when they think of cults? So this is like a real pop, I want to say science, but like, I guess we'll say that it's like a pop social studies book.
Yeah.
Very short, very easy to read, written with a style that many people would find very accessible. I found it a little, like, it got a little twee at points. She's a lady that lives in Hollywood, and she sounds like a lady that lives in Hollywood.
Ah, got it.
Amanda Montell's father was a child who was unfortunately brought into the Synanon cult. Synanon started as a substance abuse program to get people off of substance, and it turned into a communal living situation, and they started allowing lifestylers to join, people who weren't former addicts but who just liked the Synanon program and way of living. And it developed a lot of the cult tendencies where, people weren't allowed to leave, they weren't allowed to question, they had these thought terminating cliches. There were consequences if you ever did anything the leader didn't want you to do. Your finances were all tied up in the organization. It was not easy to leave. And eventually he got out. But he was basically raised there. And one of the only reasons he got out was because he had a bit of a talent for chemistry, and they put him in the, like, medical wing. Oh. He was allowed to work in there. And he had to be taught some stuff outside the tradition so that he could do his job.
Yikes.
And that led to him wanting to go to school. Eventually he went to school. He snuck off to go to public school. Because I think another big cult thing is, I know there are reasons to homeschool, but that's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's a cult. I'm not saying homeschool is a cult, but...
No, but it's a good way to leave the door wide open.
It's a good way to ensure your child is sheltered from society and isolated. Now, there are people who do it right, who make sure that their kids get out. There's a lot of reasons to homeschool, medical reasons, or there just isn't a great school in your area or something like that. But then you need to make sure your kid gets socialized somehow and is able to encounter beliefs other than your own, I guess. Though a lot of people don't want that. known people who have specifically said, I'm homeschooling because I don't want them to encounter beliefs other than my own until I've had a chance to really instill my beliefs in them.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, I don't like that either.
But not my kids, not my crazy.
I see both sides, because what I would say, like for example, if I lived in a super red MAGA area with a bunch like really like deep QAnon MAGA, Trump is the second coming of Christ area, I don't know if I'd want my kid going to public school. Like, there are just certain ideas that, like, yeah, I don't think I want you.
Well,
So, I have things I believe are right and wrong. Other people have things they believe are right and wrong, and it's tricky to draw the line, because I definitely think I'm right about a lot of stuff, and they disagree with me vehemently. But the book goes on. It talks about Scientology. It talks about Jonestown. I think this would be a good one for somebody who wants to explore or think about some of the language cults use, some of the ways that people can sort of be programmed. But it didn't get deep enough into it for my tastes. I think this is definitely like, this is a casual book. This is a normie book, for lack of a better phrase. And it's not super well organized, though. Hey, in terms of occult books, none of them are.
Yeah.
It's a little rambling. It's a little definitely geared more towards a girly girl kind of thing. Talks a lot about like the kinds of cults it talks about, I think, or the kinds of, not cults, but cultish things that it talks about, that Amanda Montell is encouraging you to think more about, and to think about the way they're using this cult-like language to control behavior, or encourage behavior, I should say. She talks about things like Lululemon.
Yeah.
Which is like a luxury athleisure brand.
Leggings.
Lululemon almost got caught up in Nexium. But the Nexium guy sort of sabotaged it, because he was afraid that if a corporation with a legal department started looking at Nexium, the Nexium program,
it would all just go up in smoke.
It would all fall apart. And so he kind of sabotaged the Lululemon deal, and Lululemon did not wind up. I think they asked for a meeting with him, and he was like, no, you got to come to me. And they're like, no, we don't. We're Lululemon.
Looks like you and Lulu lost this deal, dude.
Yeah, we have to come to you to give you money? No. Which he did on purpose.
Yeah.
Because he did not want the attention. And they just talks about Lululemon, how like, you can't just show up to a Soul Cycle session in your Walmart sweatpants. Everybody there is going to be wearing Lululemon. Everybody there is going to be, you got to dress a certain way. You got to use certain phrases. You got to conform to the culture. Wow. And she talks about MLMs, which is something I think women tend to get exposed to more than men. And that goes all the way back to like the Tupperware party days.
Yeah, like Mary Kay and Avon.
Yeah, no, she talks about how she gets DMs from people she hasn't talked to since high school. Do you want to buy my Mary Kay crap? And
no, damn it.
No.
I don't care if you get that weird powder pink SUV, you freaking weirdo.
No, and she talks about there's a couple of MLMs. She talks about a lot of the exercise stuff, a lot of the diet stuff. And I think those things are culty.
You remember Jenny Craig?
Yeah, I think the difference is, I don't think they're on a spectrum somewhere between
how easy it for you to leave.
Yeah. How predatory is it?
Yeah.
Because she'll also talk about how some of this is just good marketing too. like creating a ritual, creating insider language, thought terminated cliches. Like some of this is like used in, she said she had a friend who uses it to raise money for cancer charities. Like they're using some of this language, some of these linguistic techniques, I should say. How like is marketing, like where is the difference between just good marketing and a cult? Where is the difference between good branding and a cult? And I think there's a lot of people who have tried to come up with that of, do you isolate members and penalize them for leaving? Do you have inappropriate loyalty to a charismatic leader? Do you have any tolerance for questions or criticism? How transparent are the finances of the group? Is there some kind of unreasonable fear that the outside world is going to end or change or be against you?
Is there a doomsday prophecy already?
Is the leader always right? Can followers ever be good enough? And she talks about how she almost got sucked into Scientology. Because if they'll encourage you to visit for like a free class. And if you go, they don't stop you from leaving, but they give you the hard sell. They'll like stand in your way. And if you ask them to let you leave, they'll let you leave, but like they're going to make you ask. They're going to,
I won't ask. I'm telling you, get out of my way.
Yeah, but they're not going to target you though.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to target people who are going
also,
to
I don't have the money for them.
Yeah, there's that. They're not going to target people who are going to be good at confrontation.
Yeah.
They're going to target people who like to go along and to get along. And they're also going to target people who really feel like they can change the world and are looking for a group of people to help them change the world.
People who are deeply out of touch.
Or people who are really in touch. That's who Jim Jones preyed on. Jim Jones, like we talked about Q, and that's kind of like a right-wing thing, but like Jim Jones kind of preyed on a left-wing thing.
Yeah, but Scientology's out of touch. You can see some of the other cults are like too in touch, and like that's where the sympathies and the empathies get you in trouble. Scientology is way out of touch.
Scientology preys on the self-help craze. Scientology wants the kind of person who's looking to self-improve.
But only in the way they tell you to.
Well, yeah, because they're anti-psychology.
Anti-everything.
So I'd say like this book, Cultish, it's fine. It's light, quick read. If you ever wanted to examine it and you haven't done a lot of examining of this stuff, you're probably not listening to this podcast, but I'd recommend it. Molly Ringwald recommends it.
Oh.
So there's that.
She was in a cult, wasn't she?
She hung out with John Hughes, so probably. Honestly, I'd say anyone who lives in Hollywood probably has some exposure to a dozen cults, but definitely Scientology.
Yeah.
So have we come up with a definition of cult that we agree on, do you think, Shy? I'm willing to say charismatic leader, hard to leave.
Yeah. There's always like an emotional high at the very beginning that blinds you to like the oncoming storm. That's kind of obvious for anyone outside.
There is a real initial benefit to the person. Like the person feels like they've gotten something out of it.
Yeah.
Until they're in too deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think that's the dangerous thing, because that's the thing with like ritual magic too. It's like a lot of people, when they sit down and they do these rituals or practices or whatever, are going to receive a real benefit. probably because it's the first time they've sat down and been intentional about their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they did a ritual. They put aside all their distractions. They focused on a thing. Maybe they did it with other people, and that really helps you to do it. That really gets you in the headspace.
It really helps like solidify the sense of community too.
Yeah, and like the classic example of ritual magic is that is not considered ritual magic is always a concert.
Yeah.
Some kind of music event where a bunch of people, like, the music gets everybody sort of on the same wavelength, in the same mood.
And at some point, like, the whole crowd is going to be singing some song the whole way.
Yeah, you're all saying the same words, or you're all dancing to the same beat, and you have that communal experience, and you come out of that just feeling like great. And that's what it taps into. There is something about humanity that craves that communal ritual experience. It's hardwired into us. It's how we bond. And I'm willing to say that cults and I think we talk about cults because, though I'm mostly interested in like the magic and stuff, that's what these things are used for. It could go one of two ways. You're either going to get like a cozy Wicca group that meets up and it's cool, positive reinforcement, bonding.
Or you're going to get a Jonestown.
Or you're gonna,
or Heaven's Gate.
Or something on the spectrum in between. Or an MLM in the middle.
Or an improv group made of like intense theater nerds.
But I think the thing is, like, with improv or your Wicca circle or whatever, like, you can leave. Your leader's not infallible. They can be questioned. The finances of the theater are kind of open. You know how it makes its money. You know what it spends its money on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the Wicca thing. It's like, oh, if we're all just meeting up at like Gretchen's house and there's cookies, like, there's not a lot of money. Like, everybody brings a snack or something.
Yeah.
Everybody it's like, we're not spending vast quantities of money here. Gretchen's not trying to leverage the fact that we have it at her house to dominate the thoughts of the group.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and that's kind of what I like about it. Like, I like that ritual experience that's baked into human nature. I like exploring all the ways that people have tapped into that throughout the ages, how they're doing it now, how it can be wholesome, how it can be harmful. That's sort of what I like about the occult. I think it's an understudied aspect of the human experience. And I wish there were more academic interest in it.
Yeah, but then I feel like at some point it would lose its, pun intended, its magic.
That's part of the problem. But I think there are people who study it in a way that respects it and doesn't seek to strip it of its power.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you don't study it, if you let it exist totally unexamined by a larger society that has the thing I like about academia, it has its flaws, but there's checks. There's reproducible results. There's people who look at what you're doing and
like peer reviews.
Yeah, they can evaluate, like, are you studying this in a way that makes sense?
Yeah.
Are your experiments ethical? And we can have a conversation about that. I like that level of outside checks and balances, where nobody knows what these ghost hunters are talking about on Facebook. Nobody knows. And then all of a sudden, like, QAnon comes out of nowhere. And what I have noticed is a lot of ghost hunters really do tend to be the do your own research crowd. And the problem with the do your own research crowd is if you really did your own research right, you'd probably wind up back in academia.
You'd be debunking yourself left and right.
You'd be doing science.
Yeah.
Or social science. You'd be studying properly. You'd be questioning. You'd be coming up with testable hypotheses. You'd be looking for corroborating evidence. You wouldn't just be like, oh, I like the way this sounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's how things are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it goes, that's where it kind of evolves along with Arthur Conan Doyle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this was a nice casual episode with a nice casual book. We needed a bit of a break after Arthur Conan Doyle. That one, I thought that was going to be a nice light read that we'd jump into and jump out of, and it would be fun. And it wasn't. It was. I wound up on newspapers. I wound up with a newspapers.com subscription, trying to confirm all the crazy shit he said, because I wound up reading it and being like, wow, wait, Arthur, oh, they found a body in that house? Well, then why doesn't everybody believe this? Why is everybody not talking about it? I have to go on newspapers.com and find out what actually happened, because you're lying to me, Arthur. You're just making shit up now. So we needed a break. We needed to just sit down and talk about the fun stuff again. But I'm ready, Shy. Next time, I'm ready to get back into it.
Okay.
I'm ready to get crunchy again.
What's the next thing?
The next occult book. It's a proper occult book. Mm-hmm. It is The Way of Hermes, which contains new translations of the Corpus Hermeticum and the definitions of Hermes Trismegistus to Asclepius.
Oh,
these are this is a big. The Corpus Hermeticum is the big one. It is really influential on any kind of like Western occult magic. It fuses some Greek and Egyptian occult philosophical traditions. And it's really it's from about the first or third century AD. Uh-huh. It was originally in Greek, translated into Latin, and has since been translated now into English. And this, I am told, is a pretty good translation, okay. Pretty good collection. And it is surprisingly short.
Yeah, it looks like a...
Yeah, it's almost like a pamphlet. The whole thing is, with including indexes and notes, is about 124 pages.
Oh, damn.
But it's crazy how influential it is. And I'm told that's how a lot of these tend to be. They tend to be pamphlets because they're really more designed for practice.
Okay.
You're designed to like use this as a starting point for your own practice. So I'm going to read this, and we're going to talk about, sort of what it contains, what it is. And, if you want to add it to your own occult library. But I thought you'd like it, Shy, because I know you like Egyptian stuff.
I do. I was actually looking at that sitting on your... Excuse me. I was actually looking at that sitting on your desk the other day, and I was like, huh. Weird.
So, yeah, next time we're going to get into some proper magic. If you want to get yourself a copy, this is actually on fucking Amazon. Woo-hoo. This is raw occult knowledge available
directly from
Jeff
Amazon.
Bezos. Yeah. So get yourself a copy. Join us next time. These Words About Occult Books episodes, much like the occult itself, it's hard to pin down, transitory, and you never know when one's going to drop.
Just like this deuce I got to take. I'm sorry, Ben.
Read yourself The Way of Hermes, and the episode will find you when it's supposed to.